everybody. We are on Crosby Live. This is our second meeting together. I'm so happy that you are able to join us during your lunchtime. I promise I won't keep you longer than an hour, and if I can do it in under an hour, I will really try my best because I know your time is very important to you. So before I get started, I'd like to go over a few announcements we have in the district to let you know what's going on, all the great things happening in our district right now. All right, in our athletic department, we want to say great season, way to go, varsity volleyball team. They had their playoff game last night and did an amazing job, but they did fall short. But I am so proud of this team. Great season, way to go, ladies. For our football, our last regular season game is this Friday. We are playing Nederland, and it is away at Nederland. That game starts at 7:30. Next week, we have the opportunity to celebrate our veterans. This is an event we absolutely love in Crosby ISD. We have lots of awesome veterans in Crosby and our Crosby Barrett Station communities. And so we love this opportunity to really celebrate them. It will be next Tuesday at Cougar Stadium at 7 p.m. So make sure you bring out our awesome veterans so that they may be celebrated on next Tuesday. And going back to our football, we have breaking news. We have a bonfire. The football team has made playoffs. And so we're going to celebrate them and get them ready for their first playoff game with a bonfire next Wednesday at 6 o'clock at the high school. And that playoff game will be next Thursday, November 11th. We are first seed in playoffs, so we have home field advantage. So we will be at Cougar Stadium next Thursday at 7 p.m. and we will be playing Houston Madison. Tickets go on sale Monday. On Monday morning, we will send out the link so that you can buy your tickets and come out and root on our Crosby Cougars. Also, we have some really exciting news to tell you guys about. Last night, you may have read in the news that COVID-19 vaccinations were approved for our younger kids. And we've been working behind the scenes in anticipation of this to be able to make these vaccines much more convenient for you. And so we will have a vaccination clinic in the district for children ages 5 to 11. Stay tuned for dates and locations and times, but I can give you a little hint. It will be in a couple of weeks. You will be able to go somewhere in Crosby ISD and get your child ages 5 to 11 vaccinated if you so choose. And College Week, we're in the middle of College Week at Crosby High School. We have a lot. They had a lot of things going on this week, a lot of fun activities to get our kids really pumped up and excited about college, career, military, all of the different options that are available for them post high school. So if you have a high school student, make sure you're plugged in and you know what's going on each day this week for College Week. Now, this is the meat and potatoes of our time together today. It's a little for-your information. So we received some questions leading up to today's discussion, and there were some trends that we saw. And so I'll address the questions in topics. So the first topic we'll talk about is bad weather. The hot topic, the big question is, how do you guys deal with bad weather? What is your process? How do you decide what to do and how to respond to bad weather? So that's really a loaded question, and the answer can take quite some time, but I'll try to summarize it quickly. There are a couple of things when it comes to bad weather and how we respond. And I'll go over two. One is when it's predicted, and the other is when it is not predicted. Number one, when it's predicted. When the meteorologist sees something on the radar and they know that something is coming up, we are plugged in to the news stations, the meteorologist. We all got to know our beloved Jeff Linder during Hurricane Harvey. Jeff Linder does a really great service for Region 4 superintendents and districts. Whenever there is going to be bad weather, he writes up summaries each day and sends them to all of the Region 4 superintendents. So we have the information straight from him. I then share it with the emergency operations team, and we are reading the information up to the day that it's predicted to happen. On the day that it's predicted, we wake up. If it's predicted to be really bad weather, let's say a hurricane, we usually have a weather call with Jeff Linder. Usually those calls are at 4 a.m. So we wake up really early. I will admit my camera is not on when I'm on the Zooms, but I am listening. So we wake up, we log into the Zoom, and we hear from Jeff Linder on what's happening, what he predicts for each of our areas. And then after that, I talk to our district team, and we talk about this is what they're predicting, this is what they're predicting for our area, and then we make decisions on what will happen for that day. Remember, I said we wake up at 4 o'clock, so we start really early that morning because the goal is always, when dealing with weather, the goal is to make decisions and communicate those decisions before we leave our homes. That is always our priority. That now brings me into the second scenario when we are not aware of the bad weather, when it's not predicted and it just happens. We call the weather Mother Nature, right? And that term in itself means we kind of don't have control over what's happening. And there are times when weather just happens. Unfortunately, it wasn't predicted, and we were not able to get ahead of it and be proactive. So we didn't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to check the weather. We don't do that on a regular basis. And so when weather just happens overnight and it wasn't predicted, we kind of are in a situation where when we wake up and realize there's something going on, we've got to make quick decisions on how to respond. What goes into those decisions? Well, we need to do a quick assessment of the district. If there is something that's going on in the district, is it in certain parts of town or is it widespread? If it's hitting most of us, let's say there was something on 2100 that affects most of 2100, that means it affects the whole town because we know that's really our one way in and one way out. So that decision would be made district wide based on this is affecting everyone. If it's something that's only affecting a small group of people, let's say there was a big wind event and some homes were without electricity. Well, if we call Centerpoint and we see that 100 homes were affected, we probably wouldn't make decisions district-wide for those 100 families. Although we do feel for them and we hope that they're safe and they do what's best for them, that would not be a decision that we make district-wide for that small number of families. So there are a lot of things that go into how do we respond to this specific event. But what I really want to make sure I communicate is that our priority and our goal is to always communicate before you leave the house. Unfortunately, when it's unpredicted weather or events that happen, we can't always meet that goal of letting you know before you get your day started. But as soon as we find out, I promise we're working behind the scenes to make the decisions that are in the best interest of our students and our families. And what's most important to us is that we keep everyone safe. Our next item on the list for your information is the COVID-19 precautions. This is just a little FYI reminder of where we are with precautions in the district. Currently, we are not under a mask mandate. I am so very pleased and just excited that our numbers are significantly low and our precautions are working. But what we do have in place, and we continue to have in place, is the no visitor policy. So at this time, we are still functioning where visitors are not welcome at this time. We're really focusing on keeping the buildings safe and secure and keeping it to where we know we are healthy and who's coming in are, Crosby ISD employees and students. If that were to change, I promise we will communicate that and we will let you guys know as soon as it is revised. And lastly, technology usage. I'm receiving quite a few concerns about technology and the use of technology. And I'll tell you guys, it's a tricky balance that we're going to have to figure out. In a year, the state of Texas will have our STAR test electronically. So STAR tests will no longer be pencil paper. In order to prepare for that, we must move instruction and student work electronically. What we don't want to do is continue with our pencil paper instruction and assessment in the classroom on a daily basis. And then all of a sudden for STAR test, it's online and our students are not familiar with working electronically and working virtually or working on online systems. So in order to prepare them for the assessment, we've got to change the way we do business in the classroom so that our students are comfortable with it. Now, with that said, we must also make sure it's not all electronic. We are concerned about our students' vision. We are concerned about, the other things that are kind of byproducts of staring at a screen all day. I can tell you that our students are not staring at a screen all day because our teachers are up and teaching. They are on the electronic devices when they're doing their work, and that's so that they will be prepared. But we definitely are looking at our curriculum and instruction, and we're looking at how to make that balance, right? We want them to be prepared for those electronic assessments, but we also want to make sure they're not staring at the screen all day. So we're definitely looking at that to make sure we're balancing that out. All right, so that's all we had for the FYIs that came from Q&A. At this time, we will open it up for other questions. So a listener would like to propose that Crosby ISD have a food allergy awareness week week out in place this upcoming year. That's a great idea. Gotcha. So a food allergy awareness week for next year. We will definitely jot that down. We will keep that in mind when we are making the calendar. I think that's a great idea. I think it's very important for people to understand that and understand the importance of that. I know as an educator, as a teacher, I had students who had food allergies that were pretty severe. And so it was good for the other students to know because it really takes all of us to keep each other healthy and safe. That's a great idea. Thanks so much for your thoughts on that. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I will pause for just 10 seconds to make sure that you don't have any other questions. So I'll give you 10 seconds. I'll do my little teacher wait time. Give you 10 seconds to add a question to the chat if you would like for me to answer it. So I'll give you 10 seconds. So another question came in, are kids being taught handwriting? I have to, I'll say a little plug here and then I'll answer the question. I have to remember that I've been in the district 6 months and not 6 years. And so I don't know everything and I don't claim to know everything. So I don't know the answer to this question. I think I know, but I don't want to speak out of term. We will look it up. I'm almost certain we do, but we'll look it up and make sure the person who asked the question, if you will put your name and number, our communications director will get back with you with that answer because I want to tell you 100% where we are with handwriting and cursive. So if you give us your contact information, we most definitely will find the answer and get back with you with that answer. Okay, that's all of our questions. I did proper wait time. I did have one more question. Thank you for that. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to spend with us and hearing all of the great things going on in our district. That's it. This wraps up our November 3rd edition of Crosby ISD Live. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful Wednesday. See you next time.